You know, we Brits are not natural complainers. There was a generation that if something was wrong with their meal, possibly, they'd just say, shh, we just won't come again. But we've got better. We're complaining more. And arguably, it's down to this lady.
Mrs. Peggy Orcott wrote to us about her dustbin. It left with the dustman one morning and it was still missing a couple of weeks later. So Mrs. Orcott wrote a letter to the council.
At Shrewsbury Road, they tell me I could have a bag or sack. I'd sooner have my metal bin, so won't you bring it back?
I think being able to complain is a fundamental democratic right. There are people around who will be on your side, but it's really up to you to grasp the nettle and complain. Keep going.
Why, oh why, oh why?
Most Brits still won't complain unless it's something that's really important. So, and that's because they just don't think it would make any difference. I think it is changing slowly. There are more channels. It's easier to whack off an email or a tweet to an organisation that's annoyed you. But overall, it's still, a formal complaint still takes somebody to feel pretty riled up.
No!
If you look at written, phoned in or emailed contacts, people who email are nearly always happier than people who write in.
I'm being held in a queue. Apparently my call is extremely important to them. And if it was, you'd have a real person at the end of the phone.
The real difficulty is finding someone, a real person to complain to, because so many giant corporations, government departments, what you will, may have an email address, but they have no real person that you can talk to. And you have an awful suspicion that you're hitting a bit of the computer that churns out what used to be called the bedbug letter, the standard response.
Oh yes, dear sir, thank you so much for your bread and butter letter of reply to my complaint, not addressing any of the questions I actually raised with you.
I think these send us an email to this address and we'll send a standard reply back is about appearing to care.
We do think that we're getting angrier as a society. Well, then when you ask people themselves, are you getting angrier? They say no.
Come on!
If all else fails, I suggest you become a freelance reporter for Horse and Hound and ring up the press office, because that usually does get an effect.